Hey, what's up everyone? It's Alex Sigrist, and today I'm back talking about the Shincheonji cult. The cult that some blame for the coronavirus spreading in South Korea at a rapid pace because they all met in Daegu and they all hung out, and then they were like, hey, let's not tell the government which one of our peoples are Shincheonji, and then we're gonna run away if we try to get tested, and yeah, you know, those people. The reason is I was reading an article from the New York Times, one of the few that I'm allowed before I have to pay a subscription, so I won't go back and open it again. But I was reading an article that was basically saying, is it right to blame the Shincheonji cult for the outbreak in South Korea? It's one thing to criticize a cult, it's another thing to blame them for an epidemic. I believe that was the title. And I was thinking to myself, like, this could be a good point. Perhaps we were really putting the blame too squarely on individuals in the religion cult, and maybe we were causing more harm than good. So perhaps we shouldn't be doing this, I thought. But then I saw something that reinforced my opinion. And I was reading an article in the Korea Times that talked about 2 Korean women who had jumped to their deaths because they were members of Shincheonji, but not because they were members necessarily, but because of the backlash that they had been receiving. One was from the husband, who was actually physically abusive to that woman because she had joined, and the other is not so clear. However, it is happening in the midst of this, what they call witch hunt against Shincheonji members to find them out so they go get tested because a lot of them are infected. But some people believe, including the church themselves, they are being victimized over this whole situation. So what is the responsibility of me, a YouTuber or a journalist, when they publish articles or make videos such as this, where they criticize a religion such as Shincheonji and blame them for helping to spread the outbreak? If we have responsible journalism, maybe we shouldn't be doing those things if it leads to people dying. I mean, literally, I just called someone out for irresponsible journalism about talking about how it's the end times in Korea. Link over here. I mean, one of those incidents actually happened Tuesday night, just yesterday. So it's fresh and it's kind of scary. So the first question is, can you criticize someone's religion? And that's what we should dive into. Is it a religion? Is it a cult? Doesn't matter. What if I just said, can you criticize religion? I think most people would agree that as long as it's not your religion, it's fine. You can just punch, and everything will be okay. But the moment someone starts talking trash about your religion, oh, it's over. You don't know what you're talking about. You're wrong. Is it okay for me to criticize a religion when I myself was born and raised Catholic? Religion, I think yes. One of the reasons I was actually thinking about because of this Shincheonji incident, where they were refusing to give over the names of some of the members because they didn't want to reveal the identities of people who may or may not be higher up in, let's say, political office or a health inspector of an area. And I thought to myself, what kind of religion would do that? This is in the middle of an epidemic. How dare they keep these lists of names of people? This is gonna hurt society. And then I thought about something the Catholic Church did, which was moving pedophiles around from church to church, hiding them, allowing them to keep going even though there were instances of sexual abuse for younger boys. It's like, you know, I remember the Catholic Church doing some pretty terrible things too. And I never want to be at that point where I am defending the Catholic Church over something that is immoral. Like, I would say objectively immoral. I think there is some objectivity in morality. So then if I can criticize religion, I guess that means my stance is I can probably criticize a cult, which we would consider as worse than a religion. So even if they claim they're a real religion, fine, I'm still gonna criticize you. But there's a couple things that make a cult even worse. The first would be that they often make you cut ties with the rest of society or your family members who don't believe. Think about Scientology and the number of people who have been separated from their family because, well, they're non-believer family and people are evil and that kind of stuff. And the second is that they require you to believe things without ever questioning your own faith. And even as a Catholic growing up, my priest would say, you've got to be able to question your faith and your authority, because if your faith turns out to be correct, then that questioning will actually make you stronger. And it could also, you know, get people in trouble when the priests or the leaders do wrong things in a community. And that's important. But I think the main reason that I should be out here and you should be out there and people should be talking about this Shincheonji religion, the main reason is how they recruit. And their recruiting methods are pretty shady. I even made a video about that, link over here, talking about my experiences when they tried to get me to join some of their religious activities, but they kind of masked it with this, I don't know, a volunteer organization that teaches Korean and helps you experience Korean culture called Mannam, which doesn't exist anymore, but variations of it do still today. One of the things about the Shincheonji belief system is that they are willing to lie to get the desired result. So if they want to recruit you, they don't have to be 100% honest in their recruitment methods. For example, there is a really cool video that I watched. It was an interview where someone interviewed a friend, which the face was cut off and the voice changed, but he talked about his experience in Shincheonji and how he got almost hooked into it. He found out something really interesting. When this person was at their lowest point, I think it was their sophomore year at university, a group of other students asked them to join with them at a Bible study. And that sounded nice. He'd do this once a week. And he would go to this Bible study and get to know these other students from his own university. They'd be studying the Bible together. He'd get along. It'd be camaraderie. They'd be friends. And he'd found out that one of those members even was a higher up executive in one of the big companies in Korea. So this seemed like a really good way to network, meet people, and hey, maybe get by in life a little bit easier. What was really crazy about that is none of the people in that Bible study actually were in any classes at that university. They weren't students at all. They would go to the cafeteria and just pretend to be students there, but that's the lie they would use to kind of get closer to this guy to bring him into the cult. He didn't even know what Shincheonji was until someone came and said, hey, I lost my sister to Shincheonji. These guys are bad. And that leads to what I think is important, which is it's okay to talk about these things, even if it might lead to some disastrous results. Let me explain very quickly why it's okay. A lot of those people probably joined that religion through that trickery, through getting tricked into believing something that wasn't real. And once they got there, they got trapped. They got stuck there. And they probably had to force, their family away from them, cut ties, all that kind of stuff. Now, it doesn't always happen. I did mention that the two women who killed themselves earlier this year were married to people who weren't Shincheonji. They joined later. But it's important to shed light on something that I would consider really morally wrong. Using these lies to get people to join a cult, which eventually causes you to break ties with your friends and family here in Korea or anywhere. People need to know the truth of how they recruit so that they won't fall victim to these same scams. And the other reason it's important is because you have to really address a lie. You have to call out BS, as the news outlets are supposed to do when presidents lie or when big business leaders lie. You've got to call it out. And I think it's okay to call it out and cause some anger that they got caught for their lie, even if they feel victimized for it. To sum this all up, I do think we should probably be careful about how we criticize a religion or a cult or any group of people and how much we villainize them when there's an outbreak like this and maybe they had a little bit to do with it. There's a lot we need to consider. However, do I feel personally responsible for these women taking their own lives? Feel bad? Yes. Responsible? No. That lies with the church that grabbed them in, that lied to get them in, that really took their trust and abused it. Don't blame yourself when someone else pulls the trigger. And I'm not talking about the suicide. I'm saying the trigger is used by the leaders to manipulate and recruit people. That being said, we don't want anyone to die, and I do hope that all these members maybe can either escape or the church somehow magically opens up and doesn't become so secretive and seclusive and all that kind of stuff. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up so it can spread to more people. Share it. I don't know how people share nowadays. I don't tweet it or something. And also, please leave a comment down below if you have any experiences of your own dealing with cults or any ideas on the best way to approach dealing with cults, because I want to learn too, and I'm really curious about it. Again, try not to leave too hateful comments about the individuals of a church, but you are allowed to criticize the things they do wrong. My name is Sigrist. Thank you for joining me today. I will see you next time. Goodbye. Haseyo.